Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. In this session, we are going to revisit the normal forms. We are going to take up a very important question from GATE 2020 and we are going to see how they have just tested your basics, the basics knowledge in regard to the normal forms, that whether you know how to, analyze the normal forms, how to determine which is the highest normal form for a particular relational schema. We have already discussed many questions in respect to it, but here I am with GATE 2020 question. I thought to discuss one of the latest questions from GATE so that when you are preparing for your GATE exams and you get through this question and you solve it correctly, you get some sort of confidence that yes, you are in the right direction. So let's quickly dive into the question and let's see what they've asked in GATE 2020 in regard to the database and very specifically to the normal forms. Let's see what the question says. So the question says, consider a relational table R that is in 3NF. Now, very importantly, they have said that the relational schema R is already in 3NF, okay, but not in BCNF. Now, it is in 3NF, but not in BCNF, okay, not in BCNF. Which one of the following statements is true? Now, just focus on what they are saying. They are saying that tell us a rule which is followed when a relational schema is in 3NF but not in BCNF. So we have already discussed this in many our videos, the shortcut technique, that to check that if a table is in BCNF, what do we want? We want that the left hand side, we want that the left hand side should always be a super key, super key or a primary key, right? Or it should be a primary key, nothing more or less than that. Okay, now, and if it is for and to check for 3NF, to check for 3NF, what is the rule? The rule says that either the left hand side should be a primary key or a super key, or the right hand side should be a prime attribute or a combination of prime attributes. Okay, now it can happen that if both occur, we don't have a problem. Okay, both occur, no problem. If one of them occurs, fine. If none of them occurs, then it is not in 3NF. Okay, that is the rule. Now that means for a table which is in 3NF but not in BCNF, what would be the case? The case would be, now see, if the left hand side was a super key, it would have been in 3 BCNF, right? Now if it is not in BCNF, that means the left hand side is not a super key, right? That means this is failing, right? It is not, left hand side is not a super key. Then but still it is in 3NF, that means the right hand side has to be a combination of prime attributes or it has to be a prime attribute. So now we are clear with the concept that what would have been the case. Now let's see the options. The option says R has a non-trivial functional dependency, this x to a, where x is not a super key and a is a prime attribute. Yes, it is perfectly the case that we have just discussed. So this is the answer. So clearly we have the answer in the first very option, but let's check the other options as well. Now the second one says R has a non-trivial functional dependency x to a, where x is not a super key and a is a non-prime attribute. Now it cannot be a non-prime attribute because if it is a non-prime attribute, then this rule will also get negated. Then this rule will also be false, then it will not be in 3NF. Okay, now it says it is a non-prime attribute and x is a proper subset of any key. Clearly we have already discussed that if left hand side, it is x to a, if x is a proper subset of a primary key and it is pointing to a non-prime attribute, then what it is? Then this kind of production, this kind of functional dependency is what? This is a partial dependency. This is a partial dependency. And since the partial dependency is existing, this kind of relational schema will also not in be in 2NF. So this is not in 2NF as well then. If this is the scenario, then this won't be in 2NF as well. That will be only in 1NF. Okay. I mean, then we'll have to check for 1NF. So, but this won't be in 2NF as well. Now let's check the third case. R has a non-trivial functional dependency x to a where x is not a super key. Okay, a is not a a is a non-prime attribute. Okay, and x is a proper subset of some key. X is a proper subset of some key. Oh, sorry, I read it as not a. So whatever we discussed is for this case. Very sorry about this. So this is not in 2NF as well. Okay, let's read B part again. So it says X is not a proper subset of any key. It is not a proper subset of any key. Okay, fine. If it is not a proper subset of any key and the right hand side is a non-prime attribute, but X is not a proper subset of any key, then what will happen? Then it is obviously 2NF because because this is not a partial dependency. That means we would say that there is no partial dependency. Now since there is no partial dependency, then it is in 2NF. Okay. Now let's see the last option. A cell R holds a set instead of an atomic value. A cell in R holds a set instead of an atomic value. Now what is the condition of 1NF? 1NF says that every cell in R, every attribute should have atomic values. Now this fails that very condition as well. So that means this R relational schema will not be in 1NF also. It won't be in 1NF also. So we have exhaustively discussed all the necessary cases. This question basically clears all your concepts with respect to normal forms. It discusses all the necessary cases that you recall when solving a normalization question or when you keep in mind. So we have through this question we have revisited our normal forms. We have discussed all the forms of normal forms of in a relational schema. And now if you want to practice some more questions with respect to normal forms to find out the highest normal form, you already have those questions in the playlist. You can please view the playlist on database systems. I've also attached it at the end of the video, so you can please visit that video, practice gate questions, practice mm, more and more questions on normal forms, because normal forms, finding the highest normal form, if you want to get that question correct, you'll only be able to do that with a lot of practice. Okay, so please practice it. And in case you have any doubts in any of the questions, please feel free to post them as comments in the comment section below. Feel free to post your feedback in the comment section below. In case you like the video, please like it. If you're the one who's visiting it for the first time, please press the subscribe icon below and the bell icons to help me keep you notified with the latest videos. And I'll be back with some more sessions with some more questions. Till then, stay tuned, keep learning, keep practicing, and thank you very much.